Hello! Son of a bitch. All my questions just crashed to the floor. As soon as I said hello. Hello, everyone. DSP here. Welcome to the 74th episode of Ask the King. That's right. 74 episodes of this show have happened up to now. That means the next episode will be the 75th episode, which is kind of an anniversary when you really think about it. Would it be presumptuous of me to say that we're going to hit 100 episodes, in the next couple of years? So I usually do this every other month, right? So if you really think about it, if I still keep to do this every other month, that means 6 episodes a year, which would mean another 3 years. Boy, I can't count. Another 4 years. So if I keep doing this for another 4 years, we'll hit 100 episodes. I don't know, man. I guess this is pretty neat, at least to know this is one of my longest running shows, ever, right? Today is January 24th, 2019. I am, of course, Darkside Phil, and I'm here to answer your questions, whether you posted them up on my forums at thekingofhate.com, whether you posted them up over here on my Twitter today, or whether you actually are going to ask them live in the stream chat. And what I mean by that is this show will have a segment where I'm going to be asking questions of the stream viewers, all right? So it's going to be 3 different, complete different segments on the show. A lot's been going on. It's a new year. We've been doing a lot of downtime stuff with new releases finally starting up to later tonight. And for the next several months, there's going to be pretty much constant new releases, which is great. And this show is going to cover a ton of topics, as you'll see. A lot of big variety in the questions and everything. So it should be a good show. If you would like to post up your questions for next time, there's 2 ways you could currently do so. You just go to the kingofhate.com forums. Now there's a new thread for the next show, which is going to be around late March 2019. So you can post those up, immediately for a chance to get them answered. If you want to be guaranteed to get your question answered on the next show, you got to pledge to my Patreon. If you pledge a $20 pledge to my Patreon, you can ask multiple questions, and they're guaranteed to be answered on the next episode of Ask the King. So if you've got burning questions you've always wanted me to give big, elaborate answers on a show like this, rather than me just skim through and give you a quick answer for during like a stream if you cheer or whatever, this would be your opportunity to do so. All right? All right. Okay, so without further ado, I would say we're going to get started. However, if you're here live watching the stream and you've decided that you'd like to either cheer, sub, or tip during today's stream, that's perfectly fine and much appreciated. However, understand that this is a Q&A show. I can't just drop an answer right in the middle to give you a shout out for your contribution. And also, I will say this. If you are going to ask a question of me during the show, please save it for the final segment of the show. It wouldn't make sense to start a Q&A show and then interrupt the questions that I already have here to answer every 5 seconds with a new one from a contributor. So please, if you're going to, ask a question or cheer sub or tip to ask a question, please save that for the end of the show. That being said, That Rich Democrat just did a 111-bit cheer and said subscribe to PewDiePie. He's a paid shield for PewDiePie and has been recently. So there you go. However, it's actually Oblivion Wing who's the top cheerer of the day. For some reason, this didn't carry over, and I don't know why. Let me get Oblivion Wing up on the leaderboard here. Oblivion Wing 97 with a 200-bit cheer from earlier. So thank you, Oblivion Wing, for being the top cheerer of the day. That is much appreciated. All right. So we're going to get started first with forum questions. And the first question, it's 3 questions from Nick. Patron questions. So we're going to go ahead and answer his questions first. All right. So number 1, his first question is, regardless of what might happen to me in April, even if it's the worst case scenario, would you still make streams and videos? Well, worst case scenario would be like I get kidnapped and it maybe sent to the Middle East and I'm ransomed by ISIS or something. So if that's the case, no, I would not be able to still, oh no, Chestnut fell. I still would not be able to make streams or videos because I would be, being held against my will. And unless they have, really good internet over there, which I don't think they even have in their caves or whatever, I don't think that I would be able to perform any kind of stream or videos, all right? Now, I think what Nick is actually referencing, I'm obviously being facetious here, what he's referencing is, right now, I'm in a big financial dilemma. I need to raise a lot of money between now and the end of April to pay my taxes for the year, my federal taxes. I know I'm going to be getting a large sum of money sometime in February because of that person, Emerald7, who gifted some 1,300 plus subscriptions over the course of December. So I'm going to get a lot of money from him, but it's not enough to pay all the taxes. In fact, I would guess it's maybe half, if that. So I need to raise a lot of excess funds between now and the end of April in order to pay these taxes. Worst case scenario, if I can't, I could see a few things happening. Number one, I get a lien on my house, which would absolutely suck. What that means is if I were to try to refinance my house, which I want to do, or if I would try to sell my house, that the government would have to get paid first for the taxes that I owe. That's number one. That's terrible. That would be really bad. In fact, a lot of companies, for example, a company that I was trying to work with to refinance my home might not even want to refinance it. Say, we don't want to touch that. We don't want to mess with tax liens. All right, I'm going to have to go around and find a company that's willing to deal with that. Number two, the IRS might just say, well, we're going to put you on a payment plan, a forced payment plan that you must pay. And if you don't, we're going to do even worse. We're going to hit you with even more fees. We're going to hit you with crazy amounts of penalties to the point where we'll take all your money away. All right. Obviously, that's bad. If they force me on a payment plan like that, I don't know where the money's coming from because I barely make enough money right now to pay everything as it is. So now they're expecting additional money from me every month. I don't know where the hell it's going to come from. You see what I mean? Would I still make streams and videos? Yeah, this is my life. This is my job. This is my income. The bottom line is, it's not that I don't make good income doing this. It's that because of all these factors over the last few years that have screwed me over, including just a few, the trolls who screwed with my channels and stuff, making my YouTube basically not viable anymore as a business and making me lose tons of income that way. My former tax attorney who completely screwed me over and didn't do my taxes properly, which resulted in thousands of dollars of back state taxes and thousands of dollars in penalties and fees. And then on top of all that, thousands of dollars of me paying a new tax attorney to clean up the mess. All right. All that money would have went towards my normal taxes and instead I had to go to all this shit that was fucked up. It's other things. For example, as you guys know, last year, other things happened with YouTube where for about a month I didn't have any ad revenue on YouTube. That screwed me over. The fact that I changed my videos on YouTube to be longer, which then also reduced my ad revenue. The fact that people like Tutankhamun came in and basically made it so that they contributed a ton, but then it stopped contributions for like 2 months on my streams, which wasn't good. And then I was sick at the end of the year. Typically, at the end of the year, that last week, I do holiday events and I raise a ton of extra money to help with this early year. And I raised none because I wasn't there. I was sick. So all that extra funds, usually it's honestly thousands of dollars that I usually raise at the end of the year. I didn't make any of that. Also, for the first time ever this year, during the holiday season, I made no additional money on YouTube. Typically, during the holiday season, I make way more money because there's big ad revenue increase. I made exactly the same amount during the holiday season as I normally did on YouTube. So, again, so many factors coming in, and they all have negatively affected me to the point where I can barely afford to even pay what I owe every month. Where's extra money going to come from to pay these taxes? I have no idea. But the bottom line is, I'm still going to stream. I'm still going to make videos. The worst case scenario would be if there's just no way out and I have to sell my house to pay everything. Then obviously if I'm in the midst of selling my house, no, I wouldn't be able to do as many streams and videos as I normally do. There's going to have to be time away to prepare the house for sale, to pack up a bunch of shit and sell a lot of the shit out of the house, working with a real estate agent constantly, having people come in and see the house. You see what I mean? Like, it's going to be very different. It's going to very, very, very negatively affect the streams, just being honest here. And I know that people would be very upset at the negative changes. Plus, if I have to sell this house and move wherever I go, is the internet going to be as good where I go? Are they going to allow me to stream the way I do? Or are they going to complain I make too much noise? You see what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a big factor that ideally, the best case scenario, I find a way to pay these taxes or most of the taxes by the end of April, even if I can't do all of them. If there's a few $1,000s left over, that's manageable. Versus if there's tons, like $10,000 or more dollars owed, I'm completely screwed. All right. So it is what it is. We'll see moving forward. But yes, I would still keep streaming and making videos as much as possible because guess what? That's my livelihood. That would be like saying, well, things are going wrong. Are you just going to stop working now? Yeah, because when you don't have enough money to pay stuff, if you stop working, it fixes it. Huh? His next question is, if you had the option of obtaining a stable job that would support you, would you take it but still continue to do YouTube and Twitch as a hobby for side revenue, or would you rather continue to do this full-time and constantly struggle to make ends meet? It depends, because here's the thing. You say, getting a stable job that could support you. Any stable job would support me, but no stable job would make as much money as I do on stream. And that's just me being honest. Being on stream here is more profitable than having a 9-to-5 job, period. At least from entry level. Sure, if I had been in the job market for the last 10 years, and I was entering in a management position or something, then perhaps getting a job and jumping in like this would have made as much money as streaming. But no, there's no way that me just going out there to the job market and getting a 9-to-5 office job is going to pay as much money as what I do here on stream. Therefore, there's no point. You see what I mean? I would actually be like, Phil, why don't you just do that? Because it would actually hurt me. Actually, stopping doing this full time to go get another job would make less money. So it would actually put me in a worse financial position. Why the hell would I do that? You see what I mean? And then the third question, if you couldn't do this full time and you had a choice for an alternate career, what would it be? I have no idea. Because every job I've ever been in never really amounted to anything. You know, I've been in the fast food industry, and I've been in the service job industry. I've been in the retail industry. I've worked at a 9-to-5 office job in customer support and also continuous improvement. And every single one of those jobs were completely fruitless. And even though I busted my ass at them and really felt that, you know, I worked my butt off and earned respect and credit. In fact, at my office job, I received commendations and awards for going above and beyond. I still got laid off. So it seems to me there is no job market in America that's stable where you're guaranteed like a peace of mind or job security. It doesn't exist. It literally does not exist. The only people who can feel job secure are people who like are 100% required in order for something to happen. Like, for example, doctors. Most doctors are probably job secure once you have an established practice because people are always going to need healthcare. You know what I mean? But for someone like me, there's no job I'm ever going to jump into in my life that's going to have job security. You know what I mean? So if I weren't doing this, what would I do? I have no idea. Like I said, the one thing that I always imagined I would like to do is open a restaurant and have it have like recipes for my family, like my own Italian sauce, and we can make our own recipe of pizza, and we can do all this cool Italian style stuff. But I'll never be able to do that now. You know what I mean? Like, unless I win the lotto, I would never be able to have enough money to open up a restaurant. And restaurants actually are some of the most risky and most failed ventures ever in business. Restaurants can open and close and on a whim. In fact, in the last 2 years here in Washington State, I've seen like sandwich shop open, close within a year. There was another one. There was a Chinese restaurant open, close within a year. It's fickle. It's a very fickle place. And even though I think I would love doing it, it would be very hard to be successful. You know what I mean? So, is what it is. I'm probably going to be doing this for much more longer time. All right. So before we get into the forum questions, Pidaris did a 201-bit cheer, which seems to be a silly question, but I'm going to entertain it for the show anyway. All right. I'm going to entertain it. Let me get Pidaris up here on the leaderboard. Because he did do the top cheer. He says, if you're in a dire need of money, why would you take a day off? Shifts could be longer to make extra cash. What's more important, keeping the house or spending time with someone who loves you no matter what? Actually, this is such nonsense. I mean, this literally shows that you know absolutely nothing about live streaming. You know nothing about content creation. All right. And sadly, you know nothing about, like, reality. I'm sorry to say that, and I'm not trying to insult you, but I already stream 6 days a week. And if you actually look at the time I start streaming, which is 10:15 in the morning, to the time that I end streaming, which most of the time is around between 9 to 10 at night, with maybe 1 or 2 hours of break. So I'm streaming roughly 10 hours a day on average. Some days I actually go longer than that. Out of that time frame of 10 hours, I'm talking for probably about 8 hours. Okay? You guys have heard my throat. It's not like I'm making it up. You've heard how messed up and gunked up it gets. You know that I have post-nasal drip. You know my throat swells up from the amount that I have to talk on stream. I'm working to the limit of what my health will allow me to do. If I were to stream more, my throat would probably get so medically ill that I would need to have some procedures done or go to the hospital, because I can't keep overworking myself to the point where my health is now, I can't work anymore. Listen to my throat now. You can hear it. It's hoarse because I was sick during the holiday season and I worked right after rather than taking time off to rest my throat. So here I am where I am, right? You know what I mean? In addition to that, why do I take a day off? Do you not understand that when you work 7 days a week with no break, that literally you burn out? Like, do you not have any understanding of how a job works or how life works? I guess not. And again, I'm not trying to insult you, but your question is just so ridiculously off base, I have to address it in a logical manner. If you have 0 time off from work, if your entirety of your life is work, you get burnt out, you hate what you do for a living, and basically it becomes toxic, right? That's not what I want. That's why during my time off, that's the one day a week I actually get to spend time with Kat. What kind of a relationship would I have if I never spend time with my significant other? What's the point of being in the relationship? Then that's not even a relationship. That's being a roommate, right? That's like we're just sharing the same house and we never see each other or do anything together. Like, your question is so ridiculously off base and just stupid, I'm sorry it is, that I can't believe you asked it. And you actually wanted me to publicly answer this on stream. Like, anyone who's mature and is an adult and lives real life would know this. So I don't know why the hell you asked me this question. I just don't get it. But anyway, can you imagine if I worked 7 days a week, never took time away from shooting, it was constant games. Can you imagine how burnt out I would be? I'll give you some perspective here. Back in the day, I would say the years of 2011 through like 2014, before I moved to Washington, that's how I actually operated. 7 days a week. Even my day off wasn't a day off. It was I would spend a little bit of time with my parents and do the weekend preview. But 7 days recording constantly. Even the day when John Rambo came over, record with him. Then 7 days a week, constantly working. And you want to know what happened? People constantly complained to me, all right, that there was problems with my content. It was boring. It seemed like I was only doing it for work. It seemed like I was burnt out. People wished that I would have taken more time with games and not tried to rush through them and get to the next game. People basically were constantly complaining for those years that I had stagnated and they wanted me to do things differently, okay? So you can't do it like that. You have to have time off to rest. You have to have time to spend with friends, family, or significant other. You have to have that. You just have to. If you are just work, it's absolutely terrible for your health. It's terrible for your relationships. It's terrible for life in general. And quite frankly, I'd probably get burnt out and hate my job and never want to do this again. So there you go. Okay. So there you go. Let's continue on. A few other things here to shout out. That Rich Democrat did a 201-bit cheer and says subscribe to PewDiePie. Chatty did a 332-bit cheer to become today's cheerleader and says blow me a kiss. Oh my god. No thanks. How about that? Weird. Alright. Well, that didn't... Well, this keyboard's a piece of garbage. Okay, then. Anyway, Chatty's not even going to be the top cheerer because someone else just trumped them. Okay. Let's try this again. Chatty. Actually, Chatty is not the top cheerer. It's now that Rich Democrat. Let's get him up there. Who did 333 bits. Thank you, that Rich Democrat. And he actually said subscribe to PewDiePie. Insomniatic Me actually did a 200-bit cheer. Thank you, Insomniatic. Anthony tipped me $1. So why do you think you're always getting sick? You seem to be unhealthy and you have a weak immune system. Wrong. In fact, I rarely get sick. What you're hearing is not an illness. It's not like he has a virus or a cold. And, rarely do you even hear me go through those symptoms, right? You don't hear me with a sore throat or coughing constantly or anything like that. What I have is called postnasal drip. I've explained this many times over the years, but I guess people still don't understand it. It's a medical condition. It's not an illness, all right? Where sadly I have annoying mucus pouring down the back of my nostrils, down the back of my throat. It causes constant irritation in my nostrils and my sinuses in my throat. When I sleep, it builds up. When I wake up in the morning, I'm all gunked up. Now, before I had a job where I talked all day, it wasn't an issue. Because I would just wake up in the morning, oh, I'm gunked up, clear it out, go to work. I'm not talking all day. Within an hour or two, it would be fine. But when you're talking all day, that irritation just magnifies. And over the years, I've tried different things. I've tried cough drops. I've tried tea. I've tried anti-inflammatories for what do they call them? Whatever. Decongestant. All those things. Nothing works. And there's not even a set surgery for this condition that can make it better. Okay? The bottom line is, I have a job that's incredibly taxing on the throat. And I enjoy doing it for a living. But if I go crazy, for example, I think it was a week or two ago, where I was like screaming playing Black Ops 4 multiplayer for like a whole session, 4 straight hours. I was screaming at the top of my fucking lungs going nuts, all pissed off. And then my throat got super sore that night and swollen. And luckily, overnight, it got better. And the next day, I was able to stream again. But that's what I mean. Like, I have to be very careful with the way that I treat my throat. Today, I'm doing Ask the King. This could be very taxing on my throat because of the way that it works. So I have to be very careful and be sure not to scream or get over agitated or get overworked up when I do a show like Ask the King, because I'm talking constantly. You see what I mean? By the way, professional singers and radio hosts go through exactly the same thing. And some of them make these crazy concoctions and brews. Like some people will brew this giant thing of herbal tea with ginger and lemon and stuff in it and drink it as like iced tea all day because apparently it soothes the throat. You know, I don't really have the means to make some kind of a gourmet tea at home. Maybe eventually I could brew a big pot of it or something. I don't know. But I wish there was like a ultimate cure for my condition. There's not. And it's, again, it's not that I'm sick. I'm not. In fact, this cold that I got during Christmas was a rarity. I almost never get sick. I'll get maybe the sniffles for a day or two. I almost never get so sick that I can't talk for like a week. That was a rarity and oddity that happened. That's why you guys barely ever see me away from streams, because I'm constantly able to work. But it's this post-nasal drip that's been screwing with me for years, okay? In reality, even though I always had the post-nasal drip, I never really had major throat problems until I was filming Project 7. This is the truth. Most people don't know this. There was a scene in Project 7 where we were filming in a studio, and there was a closet. When we opened up a closet, there was an old fire extinguisher that exploded, and that shit went into my lungs, and it screwed up my throat. And since then, my throat has never been the same. Like, it gets to the point where sometimes it's fine, but I find it very easily gets irritated now ever since then. And I've been to doctors and everything, and they're like, well, you know, doesn't look like there's anything we can do about it. So I just have a very sensitive throat at this point. It sucks, but it is what it is, okay? Pidaris cheered and said, well, in the past, you used to be able to take like a week off every month back when you were making crazy money on YouTube. That's correct, Pidaris. Back when I was making crazy money on YouTube, I mean, you just answered your own question. When I was making crazy money on YouTube, I was able to take a whole week off because it didn't matter that I could take the week off because guess what? I was making crazy money. So then my throat wouldn't get so screwed up or whatever. By the way, it was never a week. It was probably about 4 days at a time. Maybe I would have a string of... Right now, I take 1 day off a week. Back then, it was like 4 days in a row. So in reality, if you actually look at the schedule, it was the same. I would work my butt off for 3 weeks, and then I'd have 4 days off. See what I mean? Now it's 1 day a week, I get a day off. So it's equivalent to what it used to be. It's just differently spread out so that I can spend at least some time every week with Kat rather than, one little 4-day stretch and then nothing for the rest of the month. You see what I mean? And by the way, that's good because she lives with me, that we can do that, you know? If you remember, you know, when she was visiting, when she was flying in, you know, I would take an extended little 4 or 5 days off to spend time with her, and then I would just go back to work for a while, right? So it's good that she lives with me, and we can now have that 1 day off a week. But again, Pidaris, you're totally all based. Like, nothing that you asked so far today made any logical sense, so. And apparently, wow, I received, holy shit, I just saw this, $250, a tip from Let's Woosa. Thank you. To whoever you are, I have no idea who this is. That is an incredibly generous tip. That's going to help. Not only that, that's going to pay for Kingdom Hearts 2 next week, and that's going to get me a head start on the bills for January. All right? So thank you very much for that. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. Very doubtful that we're going to see anyone actually top that during today's stream. Okay. Amazing. Thank you very, very much. That's actually the biggest tip I've received in months, by the way. So we're up to $252 in tips. Awesome. Okay, so let's now continue. Let's actually get to the forum question, shall we? So the first question from the forums is from Derek. Okay, Derek asked a bunch of questions. I just picked one randomly out of the ones that he asked. And he loves wrestling, pro wrestling, so I figured I'd pick a question related to pro wrestling. So he says, what do you think of all the holiday-typed matches and the Raw Roulette in WWE? Honestly, I find them fun and super silly because there's no disqualification and there's always some weird stipulation. You know, there's holiday-themed matches. For example, they'll do the Miracle on 34th Street Fight or the Thanksgiving Day Massacre match. You know, the Valentine's Day Massacre match. They always do these weird gimmick fights. It's kind of a tradition. It's kind of a tradition in WWE that on a holiday they'll have a silly gimmick-themed match. The thing is, though, that those matches are very much gimmicks. And that's what I mean. Like, they're not meant to be taken seriously at all. They're basically matches that are jokes. You know, you're never going to see a title up for grabs during one of these crazy gimmick holiday matches. You're never going to, it's never a match that ever really has any kind of a serious outcome or adds to an ongoing storyline or feud. It's usually just a ridiculous, silly match just for the sake of having holiday silliness. So on the Christmas episode of SmackDown, they have the Miracle on 34th Street fight where they're fighting with candy canes and smashing each other with giant oversized boxes and presents. You see what I mean? And it's not necessarily anything crazy serious, but it's kind of silly. Now, for me, being a longtime fan of WWE, yeah, that stuff gets tiring to me. Like, that's not interesting to me at all. To the point where, like, I think it's kind of silly that they still do them. But I can understand if you're someone who just seasonally or occasionally watches WWE, to see a silly holiday-themed fight may be something funny. So I understand why they still do them, okay? Okay. So someone asked me, can I confirm if that tip is real? To me, it looks real. Like, taking a look here, it looks legit to me. So thank you to whoever that was. Thank you very much for that tip. That is way crazy appreciated, and you know, it's going to help me out tremendously. Like I said, not only will I can get Kingdom Hearts 3 and get it pre-ordered and everything, and probably get it preloaded, but now also that's going to help me with bills coming up. So thank you for that. All right, continuing on. The next question is from Tynel. He says, what are your goals for 2019? Okay. All right. So I have many goals for 2019. Allow me to explain. When it comes to the streams, number one, I want to continue to put out entertaining and fun streams on a daily basis for all of you. And what I hope is that this year, because it did happen somewhat in 2018, but still not completely, this year, I get a viewer base that actually doesn't care what I'm playing, that you guys feel that no matter what kind of a game that I'm playing, you could still come by and have a good time with me. Whether it's a new release, a retro classic, a game that I'm replaying from my past, or an ongoing chill stream kind of vibe with games like Minecraft and stuff like that. I'm hoping that no matter what I play, you feel like you can come by and get entertainment. Because the thing is, in the past, it was never like that. Back when, you know, I was doing YouTube and stuff, it was more like Phil has to entertain a certain group, and if he doesn't entertain that one group with a certain kind of content that they're looking for, then sadly, he can't make ends meet, and, you know, he has to move on. You know, there were games in the past that I would have loved to play, and I felt like I had to drop them because I didn't think that I could go through with them. If anything, 2018 showed me the opposite. When I was able to do full playthroughs of games like Dragon Quest 11, I mean, an insanely lengthy JRPG that in the old days, I never would have been able to play a long RPG like that. You know what I mean? Because the YouTube audience would never have watched it. But now, we have a group of people who just enjoy whatever I do. They like the more laid-back streams. They'll come and watch me do those lengthy playthroughs. You see what I mean? Same thing with Final Fantasy IV that I just completed. That's goal number one. No matter what I play, every day I get a good, consistent viewership who are supportive and enjoy what I'm doing. That's key to success long-term, in my opinion. Instead of, oh, jump on whatever the next fad is, jump on the flash in the pan, you know, hit or new release. You've got to be able to have a stable grouping. And it's kind of like I said earlier this year. Ideally, I think the way to be successful streaming is to have a core group of things you do that people like. And then when new releases come out, that's great. You'll get an inflation in views. You'll get an inflation of people who come check out your streams. But you want to have that core group of people that are there no matter what you're playing, whether it's Minecraft, Black Ops 4, Blackout, or multiplayer. Maybe every once in a while throwing in a fighting game like Smash or something. You see what I mean? No matter what I'm doing, you guys are here to hang out. And then, oh, it's great. We get a nice increase when there's a new release. That's kind of the opposite of the old mentality where it used to be, Phil just plays all of our new releases, and then when there's no new releases, he fills dead time with stuff that no one really watches. I don't want that. I want it to be the flip side of that. Okay? So that's goal number one. Goal number two, I seriously hope that by the end of this year, and this is a serious goal of mine that I hope I can reach, although I'm not really sure what much I could do, that by the end of this year, I don't have to worry about YouTube anymore. That if YouTube actually just went away overnight, I'm making enough money on Twitch to pay everything. Right now, I am not, okay? Even though on Twitch, every month, I'm making about I'd say 2 to 3 times as much as I make on YouTube. I still rely on that YouTube income. I need to increase my viewership and increase the contributions on streams that I get to the point where I don't need to worry whatsoever about YouTube. If YouTube falls and goes apart, if they destroy my fucking YouTube channels and wreck everything, I don't, because last year, 2018, really primarily the reason that financially I got hit badly was because of YouTube. Let's see. Number one, they completely turn off DSP Gaming because it's linked with Google Plus. That was their own internal error. They fucked it up. Then I get that fixed. Then I leave my partnership with Curse and they fuck up my ads for over 3 weeks and I can't advertise. You see what I mean? Like, and it was all because of YouTube. If I didn't have that tether still to YouTube to get stuck to them and rely to them on income, then I wouldn't have to worry about that shit, right? I could just say, ignore that and just focus on the streams. This is all I care about. If the archives go down, who cares? We could keep focusing on making new fun stuff and hanging out and having fun on a daily basis. But sadly, I'm not there yet. I need to keep focusing on these streams to make them better. Keep making them go up, okay? And then hopefully in general, things will be better, okay? But I'm not there yet. I can't. I still rely on that income. I need it, okay? And then, I mean, the other plan for 2019 would obviously be figure out these finances with the taxes and everything. By the end of April, raise enough money to pay the taxes so I don't have to worry about a lien on my house or a payment plan I can't afford, selling my house and all this shit, you know. I'll be very honest with all of you. You know, Kat and I have plans for our future. It's stuff that we want to do, and it's not, oh, spend money. It's like, you know, advancing our relationship, and, you know, people have said many times about a pet and stuff, and we can't do any of this because we're locked into not knowing what the hell's going to happen. Are we going to, by the end of this year, have to sell our house and move and have everything get ruined? And I hope not. But, you know, it sucks because our lives are on hold because of bullshit. And that's life, I guess, for me. That's kind of what I've just come to accept. At one point, I used to sit here and rage about it constantly. Oh, I'm so angry. I don't even get angry anymore. I'm just kind of a little saddened and disappointed that my life is always kind of at the whim of some horseshit that can happen and screw me over. And it's just always been like that. What I could say, though, is I'm incredibly grateful of you guys and gals who helped me out and have allowed me to keep doing this, because it would have been years ago that I had to stop doing this and lose everything if it weren't for your help, all right? So understand that, and understand the next few months, I may be talking about doing things I've never done before, like a marathon stream that's like 16-plus hours where I play a game, I try to beat it, or I'm doing have a goal, like a speed run or a challenge run where I'm trying to do something for an extended period of time on stream because I need to raise funds for these taxes. And understand, I wouldn't be doing that stuff unless I absolutely needed your help. And that's a big goal of mine, is to be able to stay here this year. Somehow get, you know, and then, of course, refinance. If I can refinance this house, all these problems would be fixed. Like, most of my debt would be wiped out, and I'd be in a situation where things would be much better for me, but I have to get to that point. And the next hurdle is the April hurdle. Okay? Okay, real quick, Blake Shelton to me $1 says, are you and Kat fans of The Voice? No. I used to watch it when the first season, and I never watched it after that. Kat, I don't think, has ever watched it. Thank you for the $1 tip, by the way. Pidar's cheered again. So what's your plan on effectively achieving the first goal? I guess when he's talking about the streams. Bottom line is, the best way that I can do that is to listen to your feedback, to improve the streams based upon what you guys and gals say. I've noticed recently that since I've instituted changes like implementing more chill events and streams rather than worrying about new releases, that you guys have been attending more, you've been loving that stuff, and you've been contributing a lot. So it seems to me that at least the initial changes that I seem to be making are working. So just sticking with those changes and not basically letting a lot of other factors stress me out. You know what I mean? I talk about the finances and everything. Not letting that stress me out. If I don't let that stress me out and I can put out fun streams every day without that coming through, then I think that I'll be successful. But that's really tough. It is very tough that I turn on the stream and I got to turn off in my mind all this shit going on behind the scenes and somehow just focus on a positive stream, especially if it's a week when there's a bunch of bills due and I don't know how I'm going to pay them, or I know taxes are coming. It's all bearing down on my head. It's tough. But I need to find a way to make that separation so that when we're here on a fun gameplay stream, we're not talking about that shit. You know what I mean? All right, Cliffy Bureau just did a 1,500-bit cheer. I said, I can't wait for Resident Evil 2 tomorrow. Keep doing what you do. Dude, peace and love. Thank you, Cliffy Bureau. I also cannot wait for tomorrow. I think it's going to be really amazing. I think we're going to have a lot of people here who normally are not here on my streams. I think it's going to be great because survival horror is always one of my fortes when it comes to playthroughs. And I am really stoked for it, so I'm glad to hear that you are too. And thank you for the top cheer of the day, 1.5K bits. Very much appreciated. For some reason, the parentheses didn't work. There we go. Very nice. Thank you, Cliffy. All right, continuing on. We now have a question from... Oh, crap, I can't center this. There we go. Question from Hermano Carl. And he says, hey, Phil, I know that you said you don't usually have time to listen to any kind of music, but could you tell us what are the music genres that you generally enjoy? How has your taste in music evolved over the years? Do you have a specific band that you like more than others? Well, when I used to listen to music, we're talking the 90s and the early 2000s, it was mostly rock, alternative rock, meaning grunge and that kind of stuff, or metal, all right? Bands such as, I'll give you a few examples of some of my favorite bands from back then. Bush, Stone Temple Pilots, AC/DC, that kind of stuff, was really good stuff in my opinion. Now, over the years, I'll listen to stuff every once in a while, but like, for example, the band Muse, I really like them. Ra, that song, Do You Call My Name, was kind of my anthem when I started on YouTube, but I don't actively listen to music at all. In fact, when I'm in the car driving around with Kat on our day off, she usually controls the station, and she listens to a lot of random stuff. Sometimes she listens to like metal music. She actually listens to baby metal from Japan and stuff like that kind of music. But then she listens to some K-pop stuff. So I got exposed to bands like BTS and stuff like that from her. I didn't know what the hell it was, and I listened to it. I was like, okay, I understand. It kind of sounds like, honestly, it kind of sounds like the late 90s boy bands pop music that was super popular in the United States. So for me, it kind of sounds like the stuff I used to listen to in the 90s that was all over the radios. And then she also listens to just way variety of music. She started listening to like Indian Bollywood music just for variety's sake, and I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. It's like a cultural shock to hear what they listen to over there and stuff. And it's funny because again, you see a lot of commonalities in what they do versus what has been popular in like the West here before. It sounds like older Western pop music. It does. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm exposed to more recently, but I don't actively listen to that. I really don't actively listen to any of that stuff. I don't. I just don't have time to listen to music. When I'm not streaming, I'm usually doing other work offline. If I'm not, I'm watching television or wrestling, something like that. And I told you, to relax, I play mobile games. I do grinding in like mobile games and stuff. And that's it. Like, I don't sit around and listen to music like a lot of people do for relaxation purposes and the like. I don't. Okay? RJ Nickens says, hey, Phil, is there a reason you stopped doing game reviews? This is a good question. I'm glad he asked it. I'm just wondering because I enjoyed the Hateful Truth series and was wondering if you would ever bring it back. If the reason is you don't have time to edit them, I'm sure people would still like the unedited couch reviews. RJ Nickens, the bottom line is, even though there is a group of people who definitely enjoyed my reviews over the years, and at one point I was known as one of the better game reviewers on YouTube because of my very honest style. I didn't pull any punches. Even games that I loved, I would criticize and tell you the negatives, while other game reviewers would gloss over them and kiss the game's butt. Vice versa. Some people would bash the living shit out of a game and never be fair to it. I would kind of be fair. A few things happened over the years. Let's talk. Number one, YouTube began demonetizing edited style content videos. Okay, and this is just me being honest. I had a channel called KO Gaming in 2016. My goal was to have that be a major focus, and I did that year. I was making tons of edited videos, the Hateful Truth, but also countdowns, montages, all kinds of fun stuff. My reviews were getting tons of views. One of them got 1 million views that year. That's insane, right? Then in 2017, YouTube changed all their policies, and I'm not exaggerating, demonetized all the videos on KO Gaming. No explanation why. Was it because there was adult content? No. I didn't even swear in those videos. Was it because I was doing copywritten content? No. Like, they just demonetized everything for no reason. Now, it was weird because then I go to my other channel, DSP Gaming, which is raw, unedited gameplay. Almost no videos ever get demonetized on that channel. So the raw stuff is fine. The edited stuff all gets demonetized. YouTube will not explain why and won't prevent any method for me to not have my videos demonetized anymore. So, in reality, when I was doing game reviews, I was putting a ton of time and effort. You know, sometimes 8-10 hours into a review, put it out, and then it gets demonetized. I make no money on it. So, it's not worth it. It's a waste of time. Okay? I have to do things that pay the bills. Just being honest, it's my job. I can't go to work for 8-10 hours, not get paid for it. I need to get paid to pay my bills. So then, in 2018, I did a few small reviews, and essentially what these reviews were just me sitting here and talking to the camera live on stream, recording that, doing a spoken word review, and then releasing that on YouTube. essentially those didn't do poorly. Don't get me wrong, they didn't do great, but they also didn't do insanely poorly or anything. However, what I noticed is that those videos took time away from me streaming. And the bottom line is right now, that what I enjoy doing the most and what you enjoy doing watching me do the most is stream. Whether it's live gameplay, talking like this in a vlog, whatever it is, you love this. And me having to take time away from a set stream to do, I have to take 30 to 40 minutes out of my stream today to do a review and then we'll start with gameplay. People don't like that. They just like, get right to it, get to the meat, get to the gameplay, right? So after about half of 2018, I said, I'm just going to stop doing reviews. Like, there's no point in me doing edited reviews because YouTube demonetizes everything. I make no money on it. If I do the spoken word reviews, they break up the streams to the point where people go, it's a breakup. We don't like that. So I just did stop doing them. And essentially, my year-end countdown this year, my Game of the Year awards and my most disappointing games ended up kind of being extended reviews, like an hour-long video where I just did mini reviews for games that normally I would have used to review during the course of the year. So that being said, no, I honestly, I think what I'm doing now is the course. You guys just have to understand there's transition and there's change. And sadly, one of the changes is that a lot of the things that were lost when I was a full-time YouTuber are just that. They're lost. When I was a full-time YouTuber, it made sense for me to sit down and do an edited review and release it. I'm not anymore. I had to become a full-time streamer to survive. So being a full-time streamer, that kind of game review just doesn't fly anymore. If you want my actual review for a game, there's two things you can do. Watch the playthrough of the game, or usually in the final part of any playthrough during the credits, I will give my overall summary. I usually won't give it a number score, but I'll give you my overall feelings and summary of how I felt about a game once I beat it. That's kind of a review in summary. It's not as in-depth and as detailed as my old reviews used to be, but it's still a review of sorts. Those are the two ways you can get game reviews, okay? Apologies that things change. Certainly, I never would have instituted these changes if I wasn't forced into them by YouTube. It's YouTube's fault 100% with all the shit that they've changed and messed up over the years. And it is what it is. It's just a reality now, all right? That I don't do these reviews anymore. They're not coming back in that form. And you get used to the new ones, or what can I say? Look to someone else for your game reviews, all right? If anything, I could say this. Thank goodness that I'm the kind of person that not only diversified myself, but people like watching what I do no matter what. Like, even though people love the game reviews, there's still people who are going to come and they're going to watch me do the raw streams no matter what. Imagine if I were a one-trick pony, because I'll be honest, there are people out there who are one-trick ponies. They tried to move on from what they did, and it was unsuccessful. I'll just give you a couple examples. That guy with the glasses, he wanted to stop doing the Nostalgia Creek videos. He didn't like doing them anymore. But they're the only thing that would bring in money for him. So he was forced to go back and continue it on. And a lot of people say to this day that the series is more stale than ever. And it's not very interesting. But because that's the only thing he can get popularity with, he's forced to keep doing it. Same thing with Angry Joe. Now, not to say that I'm talking shit about Angry Joe because he's just some of the best game reviews out there. But it was a couple years ago where he was feeling burnout. And he was telling his viewers, I just want to take time away. I don't want to do these highly edited reviews anymore. They take too long to do. They're very time consuming and exhausting. They take a ton of money because of all the work we put into it, the dress up and everything. And basically his fans just screamed at him for 3 straight months, do another review. You know what I mean? And that sucks. Because you don't want to get yourself into a pigeonhole where you're only known for one thing. And then if that thing ends up being something you don't want to do anymore, you get a massive drop-off. Thank God that's never what happened with me. Because I was known as the guy who plays games, like, unedited, that's the most fun thing to do. And as long as I just keep doing the most fun possible thing, it seems I'm going to be successful, and that's an awesome thing. Thank God I didn't only get known for one series, and that's it. And I was stuck always doing that and never doing the other stuff that I had fun with. You see what I mean? That's a good thing. So, all right, continuing on. Next question is from Tyler Simba. He says, Phil, with Kingdom Hearts 3 going to release next week, why do you think that people want to leak gameplay on YouTube? It's so annoying, especially for someone like me who's going to play the game. I remember back in the day, no one could leak gameplay. Man, if times changed. I mean, essentially there's different reasons why people do it. Some people do it just to be complete and utter assholes. They feel like, oh, I can get it to my jollies and feel like I actually have power in my life because I spoiled a game for someone. It's kind of like, you remember that old viral video? And it's very old at this point. But you remember when the Harry Potter books were still being released? and it was the big night release party for one of them, and the girl's walking out of the store with the book in her hands, and as she's walking out of the store, a guy drives by in a car and yells, "Snape kills Dumbledore!" and drives away, and the girl goes, "No!" because the whole book was just spoiled for her. You see? Essentially, there's always that kind of a feeling from humans that I'm going to shit on your living room floor. I'm going to piss in your lemonade, and I'm going to ruin something for you. Some reason, these people who have, like, sick, malicious minds, they get jollies out of that. You see what I mean? That's never been the kind of mindset, kind of person that I am, but for some reason, some people just love that, right? So, when it comes to new game, I got an early release copy, release the whole game on YouTube, start to finish, every spoiler cutscene, title your videos with the spoilers in the title to fuck people over, post that shit all over social media and get people to retweet it. It's fucked up stuff. You know, it really is. And all I can say is, I guess it's human nature to do bad things to other people. I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? I couldn't answer the question, but sadly, you just have to understand there's this element, especially now with the internet and the anonymous aspect of the internet. There's such high potential for this shit to happen, so you got to be careful, you know? Thank God, with Resident Evil 2 coming up, it's not a spoiler game. It's a game that we've all played, 21 years ago. So that's a good thing. Let's do a few shout-outs, then we'll get back to the forum questions. Let's see here. My laptop would work. Okay. Big Bad Buffoon did a 100-bit series. It might not be a good idea. What if you went back to older games to try and get platinum trophies in a chill stream? See, I don't think that would be a chill stream. The only time that would be a chill stream, the platinum needs you to go back and collect a bunch of repetitive items. Okay. Then it could just be boring repetition while I'm interacting with the stream chat. That could be a chill stream. A lot of the times, like, incredibly difficult, crippling, grinding, like, annoying challenge shit that you have to do to get those platinums. So I guess it would depend on the game. But honestly, would my viewing audience prefer me to see a nice, fun game like Minecraft where I'm learning and I'm building and it's cool, creative stuff? Or just see me mindlessly doing collection quests? You know what I mean? I think that one works and one doesn't, so. King of Hypocrisy Cheers says, if you want more tips, you need more concrete goals. For example, if you had a goal to dye your hair for $1,000, people would donate. Yes, but I'm not going to dye my hair like every other person who pretends to be a cartoon character on stream to raise $1,000. What I'd like to do is a special event that's something completely different. It'll still be fun to me, but it'll be fun to you to see something outside the box I've never done before that's entertaining for everyone and there's quality in it, and then people say, wow, I really want to help Phil out, and they help. Not, oh, Phil's going to do some kind of over-dramatic, immature stunt on stream, and because he's doing this stupid, immature stunt, I'm just going to throw him a couple bucks. That's fucking stupid. All right? There's a difference between quality, meaningful content to entertain you and you feel like you want to give back to help me out, or doing something incredibly immature like a fucking dumbass teenager or a small child to attract the attention of small children and immature people to throw their money at me. There's a complete and utter night and day difference between the two. One I will do and one I won't. Okay? Goldrew Bluzco did a 150-bit cheer. Says, now Nintendo isn't being a dick. What games are you looking forward to streaming? I would say, out of all the games that Nintendo has put out of there that I would very much be interested in streaming, number one would be the Donkey Kong Country series. I never played the original Donkey Kong Countries ever, so to maybe do a run of those could be kind of entertaining. I've heard they're very difficult. And number two would be, what do you call it? Super Mario RPG. Of course, Super Mario RPG. That's a game that I played a bunch of times in the 90s. I absolutely enjoyed playing in the 90s. Okay, I love it. And I never played it. And it's a combination of like Final Fantasy turn-based gameplay with some action-based gameplay during the combat with Mario elements. It's a really great game, and I would love to do that. So that's why I say those are the two Nintendo series that I would love to play sometime this year maybe. The thing is, I don't know if Donkey Kong Country is available on like modern consoles. Like, can you get it on Wii Virtual Console or Wii U Virtual Console? How would I play it? I don't know. Okay. So, let's see here. Ziggy Pigu tipped me $1. Says, what was your most memorable moment of interacting with the audience since you became an interactive streamer. I'm not a person who operates in absolutes. I wouldn't even remember that. I'm serious. I'm not. I'm not a person who sits here and has a top 10 list of everything I've ever done. I'm not a person, oh, this was the best moment ever. I just don't. I would say probably one of the most memorable moments that I could say I remember would be when I was streaming South Park: The Stick of Truth, and the whole parents, love-making scene happened and the balls dropped and crushed your character. That was fucking funny. And I laughed so hard on stream, people couldn't stop laughing. It was probably one of the funniest things that ever happened on stream. But outside of that, I would say that nothing else comes to mind. So there you go. Thank you for the $1 tip. And then we had a troll tip I'm not going to read. No dope soap. I'm not getting sponsors for the stream. Pidaris, thank you for the cheer. And then we had a troll cheer. So I'll ignore all of that. So we're up to $255 in tips today. Amazing. Thank you guys very much. That is much appreciated. Let's continue on. I probably got time for 1 or 2 more questions before we take our first break. Okay. So the next question is from Robert98. And wait a minute. No, it's not. Wait a minute. Yes, it is. My bad. Hold on. Yes, sorry. My pee just fell to the floor and shuffled around. Here we go. So the next question is from Robert98. He says, Phil, would you consider doing a Mass Effect 2 femshep renegade playthrough during downtime this coming year? I enjoyed your femshep renegade playthrough and would love to see it continue. Actually, I wanted to do that last year during my 10th anniversary celebration. If you remember, during the summer last year, I did a lot of throwback playthroughs, including Vice City and San Andreas, Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, Silent Hill 2, and the other one that I was actually really strongly planning on doing was Mass Effect 2, but people were screaming for me to play Dark Souls 3 again, so I ended up doing that instead. Yeah, I would enjoy and would definitely consider doing a second run through Mass Effect 2, especially Renegade Femshep, which I didn't do the first time. Plus, it's been so effing long since I played Mass Effect 2. Are you kidding me? I probably would remember nothing of the game. So it would probably be a lot of fun, but that game is pretty long. Like, if I remember correctly, if you do everything, it's like 40 hours long. So more than likely, it would end up having to be a game that I played over the summer and balanced with other stuff or something. You know what I mean? Is it a consideration? Yes. Is it going to happen this year? I can't guarantee it. All right. Yoshino Lover asks, Phil, what game would you go back to and play if you wanted to? I already mentioned Super Mario RPG, so that's definitely one. Another one would be Lost Odyssey, which is another game from Mistwalker Studios, the same studio that made Blue Dragon, and then sadly had a falling out with Microsoft and didn't make any more games, even though they were supposed to. Insanely good RPG, plays very traditionally, much like Dragon Quest XI did. Although instead of like cel-shaded cartoony graphics, it actually has more modernized graphics. The only thing is the game is incredibly long and has required grinding. Like, there's actually parts of the game where you have to just grind against enemies in order to level up enough to progress. If you don't, you will get your ass handed to you with bosses and stuff. But maybe that could be a playthrough, again, a downtime playthrough that I can do as something I balance with other stuff in the future. I actually have the game right now installed on my Xbox One ready to go. It was at one of those games that was backwards compatible, and it ended up being a free download 1 month for Xbox Live subscribers. So I would love to play it, but that's one that I don't know if I'll have a chance. We'll have to see. Another game, let's see. Go back and play if I had a chance to. Is there another game? Yes, the Suikoden or Suikoden, I still don't know how to pronounce it. I've never heard a human say it before. RPG series 1 and 2. The first 2 games in that series are tremendously great, even though they're slow turn-based games. Tons of characters you can recruit. The story is great. The music's great. Everything about that series is amazing. I love it. So another one where I would love to play them, and I don't know if I'll ever get the chance. I don't even know if they're emulated anywhere to play them, or if they're only like on original PS1. I have no idea. All right, let's see here. I guess I got time for one more question, and then we'll take our first break. Okay, one more question. From Nariaki. He says, in the past, you said that you juggle so many games at once because you're a variety streamer. Well, I watch other people that I would call variety streamers. They have a very different method. What these other variety streamers do is choose 1 or maybe 2 games and stick with what they pick until they beat it. As a result, those streamers beat games well before you do, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Dragon Quest XI as a couple of somewhat recent examples. Why don't you try to adopt a similar method and pare it back to 2 games at a time? 1 for day streams, 1 for night streams, just to play through those until you beat them. I think it's a more focused method would result in you finishing games faster, maybe even enjoying them more. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. A couple reasons why I won't do that. The first is, as a variety streamer, 2 games is not enough. For example, if I'm only playing Dark Souls on the first stream and Dragon Quest on the second stream, well, a lot of people just, first of all, don't like turn-based RPGs. That's already out. And some people are just burned out on Dark Souls. So if I'm playing 2 things you don't like, that's it. I'm not going to see those viewers for weeks. You see what I mean? Right now, one of the changes I've instituted to my streams that has been very positive is the chill stream mentality. When Phil's playing Minecraft, when Phil's playing Black Ops 4 Blackout, when he's doing something that's considered a more chill experience, those things add to the streams because they're more laid back and there's not a lot of pressure that it's a new release that must be completed quickly. There's not a lot of focus on the game itself where instead there's a lot of interactivity. There's people who are tuning in just for that stuff. And if I were to say, well, I refuse, I'm just going to play 2 games and once that's it, those opportunities are lost. And I really feel that a lot of the things that I've built on the streams will go away. You see what I mean? Also, just being very frank with you, if I played Dragon Quest 11 for a straight month, I don't think I would get much viewership. Versus playing it slowly, I do it once a week, twice a week. People now have a chance to watch and catch up if they're not there live on the streams, and that playthrough could continue and still be successful. If I'm playing an 80-hour game and I beat it in 2 weeks, most people don't have 80 hours in 2 weeks to watch the playthrough, dude. You know? It's very different than it used to be on YouTube back in the day when most games were 10 to 20 hours long and I would rush and get that playthrough out immediately. Then it wouldn't matter because I was like the first 1 or 2 people on YouTube to do it and people would want to watch. Today, people have advanced copies of games way fucking early and shit. It doesn't matter what game I focus on. If I focus on a new release, I beat it within 2 days, someone's already beaten it because they got an advanced copy and beat it before me. You see what I mean? So that whole deal, rush to finish a game, it doesn't fly anymore, okay? In addition, when I take my time and I balance more games at once, it allows me to then take my time with those playthroughs. And for example, in the case of, say, Dragon Quest XI, I didn't just beat the main vanilla game. I also went ahead and I beat the side content of the game. I also went ahead and did the post-game story of the game, which is another 20 to 30 hours of gameplay because of the method I did it. If I was just rush, number one, I'd probably get burnt out on the game, and number two, my viewers would get burnt out on that game. But doing it at a slow pace allowed me to still do it, still be successful, people still liked it, and I balanced it with other stuff, and people didn't get burnt out. You see what I mean? I think it works. I think my formula works. The mentality of I must rush through 2 games within a week to get to the next 2 games. I did that, been there, done that. I used to do that when I was on YouTube back in the day, and people ended up hating it. They said, you're rushing through the games too much. You're not spending enough time with them and focusing on them to do the stuff that you would like to do or is meaningful to the game, like side content. You can't just have that mentality of you must cover every new release. Instead, you should pick and choose the games that you like. You know, the other thing is, let's say, for example, the hardcore gaming season. There's just an incredible amount of games that release during that short period of time, right? What if I say, I'm just going to play these 2 games now, and there's 4 or 5 releases that I don't play at launch, and I never play them. You know what I mean? Now I've missed out on a ton of great games this year, because I absolutely refuse to juggle games. Now, yeah, juggling games makes the playthroughs take longer to finish, but at least you're still playing the games. You see what I mean? Like, I know for a fact if I had this mentality during the fall, I probably would have missed out on 4 or 5 games that I played and enjoyed a lot. So I like having that mentality. It seems like it works to me. At least from my personal experience, okay? I don't care. I don't know what other streamers are doing. Maybe it works for them. Maybe they have a fan base. That's the kind of stuff they're looking for. For me, it seems like what I'm doing is working. So, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. All right? If you're watching on stream, it'll be about a 15-minute break to rest my voice. If you're watching on YouTube, well, there's going to be a part 2, okay? We'll take a break. We'll come back with more forum questions. Then we got Twitter questions, and I'll be doing Q&A with the stream chat. So thanks, everyone, so far for a good episode of Ask the King. I'll be back after the break with more. Sounds good? All right, thanks, everyone, and see you then.